When you're in your 60s and wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, do this immediately and you will see something magical happen. My dear friends, I am so glad to be with you again for a gentle chat about health, especially about sleep. This is something that almost everyone who enters their 60s has to deal with in one way or another. I don't know if you're like me. Some nights I'm sleeping soundly, and then suddenly I wake up in the middle of the night, around 2 or 3 in the morning. My eyes are wide open, and I just can't get back to sleep. At first, I was really worried. I wondered if it was a sign of some illness. I wondered if it was a sign that I was getting old and frail. But the more I learned, and the more I talked with doctors and people my own age, the more I understood. Waking up around 2 or 3 in the morning is not something to be overly concerned about for older adults. Sometimes, it's just our body's gentle and very subtle way of reminding us to pay a little more attention to ourselves. The real question is, what should we do when we wake up like that? How can we help our bodies relax and fall back asleep easily without feeling tired the next morning? In our chat today, I will walk you through this in a way that is simple and easy to understand. And most importantly, you can apply these tips right after watching this video. It doesn't cost anything, you don't need any medicine, and it's very easy to do. And now, let's begin with the first part of our video today. If you're in your 60s and often wake up between 2 and 3 a.m., do these 5 simple things. Your body will thank you, helping you stay healthy and live another 30 years. The first thing you should do is sit up gently. Don't jump up suddenly. My friends, if you happen to wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, the first and most important thing to do is not to try to force yourself back to sleep. It's also not to jump right out of bed. Instead, it's to slowly and gently sit up. I know many of us have a lifelong habit of sitting up abruptly as soon as we wake up. Some people even turn on the light and immediately get out of bed to walk around and wake themselves up fully. But in our 60s and beyond, our bodies are not the same as when we were young. After lying still for many hours, the blood circulation in our body is slower. Our blood pressure hasn't stabilized yet. If you sit up too quickly, it's very easy to feel dizzy or lightheaded, and you could even fall. Many of you have experienced this without realizing why. So, when you wake up in the middle of the night, the first thing to do is lie still for a moment. Take about 3 deep, even breaths to help your brain understand that you are now awake. Then, slowly turn to one side. Use your hand to gently push yourself up, just like how you would help a sleepy grandchild sit up. You are lifting yourself with care and respect. After sitting up, just let your feet hang loosely over the side of the bed. Don't rush to stand up. Sit there quietly for a minute or 2. Take a very slow breath in and then breathe out gently. Repeat this a few times. This action might seem small, but it will help stabilize your heart rate and blood pressure and prevent dizziness when you stand up. My friends, our bodies may not be young anymore. But if we learn to listen and treat our bodies gently, old age can be a very beautiful and peaceful time. A little slowness, a little care, will help us be healthier and more peaceful every day. Remember, don't jump up right after waking. Instead, sit up slowly, breathe deeply, and then move on to the next step. This is a very simple way to love yourself, and the effect is more powerful than you might think. The second thing to do is drink a few sips of warm water to soothe your body and help you fall back asleep. My dear friends, after you've sat up gently, the second thing you should do is drink a few sips of warm water. Just a little bit, you don't need much. But the effect is like a cool breeze in the middle of summer, so soothing for your heart and body. I know many of you might think, if I drink water now, I'll just have to get up again to use the restroom, which is a hassle. But I assure you, if you drink it correctly, just a few sips won't bother you. In fact, it can help your body return to a deeper sleep. Just imagine, throughout the night, your body is quietly working. Your heart is still beating, your liver is still filtering, your kidneys are still processing blood, and your lungs are still breathing. but you haven't given it any water for 5 to 6 hours straight. It's no wonder that you wake up feeling tired, with a dry throat, or even with low blood pressure. That's why I always keep a small, insulated thermos of warm water on my bedside table. I keep it sealed to ensure it's clean and ready to drink at any time. Whenever I wake up, I take a few sips. It soothes my throat and feels like I'm giving a small stream of water to my internal organs. There's something very interesting that few people notice. Warm water helps to trick the feeling of anxiety, calming the nervous system. Many times, we can't get back to sleep not because our body is tired, but because our mind is anxious. At that moment, a few sips of warm water are like a gentle hug in the middle of the night. It reminds you that it's okay, everything will be all right. Don't think that drinking water is a small thing. At our age, doing the small things right can lead to big, beneficial results. So remember, when you wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, don't let your body be dry and dehydrated. Drink a few sips of warm water, like watering a plant, to refresh yourself. And then, when your body has calmed down and your mind is at peace, you'll be ready for the third step, which is also gentle and very helpful. I'll tell you about it right now. The third thing to do is use the restroom and gently wash your face with cool water. My dear friends, after you've sat up slowly and had a few sips of warm water to soothe your body, there's a very natural next step you should take. Go to the restroom. Many of us wake up in the middle of the night precisely because our bladder is sending a signal. If you try to ignore that signal, if you try to lie still and force yourself back to sleep, you'll actually just make yourself more uncomfortable. I often compare going to the restroom in the middle of the night to draining some water from a full pitcher. Even though it means getting out of bed for a few minutes, the feeling of relief afterwards makes you feel much more relaxed. Especially for older adults, holding urine for too long can put pressure on the bladder. In the long run, this can lead to urinary tract infections or incontinence. And after you've used the restroom, you should combine it with a very small but very valuable action. Wash your face with cool water. It doesn't need to be ice cold, just gently cool. Splash a few drops on your forehead and cheeks, then pat dry with a soft towel. The feeling of cool water on your skin in the quiet of the night is like a morning breeze blowing through your mind. It gently refreshes your thoughts without waking you up completely. This also has another benefit. It helps to stimulate your tear glands and clean your eyes, which is great for those of us who often have dry or itchy eyes after sleeping. It sounds simple, but when you do it, you'll feel like your body has been gently refreshed. You'll feel clean, clear, and ready to ease back into a deeper sleep. That's how it is in our later years. Every small gesture toward our body is a way of taking care of ourselves. Don't underestimate these seemingly trivial things, because they are what sustain our health day by day. Now, if your body still feels a little restless and not quite ready for sleep, I have a great suggestion to soothe it. It's also very familiar and easy to do, which I'll share in the fourth and fifth steps. The fifth thing to do is listen to gentle sounds to calm your mind and ease into sleep. My dear friends, when the night is late, the house is silent, and all the sounds from the street have gone to sleep, our minds can become louder than ever. Some of you have told me, the quieter it gets, the more clearly I hear my own thoughts. And they are all filled with worries, old stories, concerns about the children, and nameless anxieties. The truth is, my friends, it's not your fault. At this age, our brains no longer have to rush around and work hard in the same way. Instead, they turn inward to process memories and thoughts that haven't been resolved. When you wake up in the middle of the night, it's as if your mind is temporarily set free, which makes it hard to fall back asleep. It's not because you're tired, but because your mind keeps racing. In moments like these, I often advise people to let sound help lull you back to sleep, just like how we used to sing lullabies to our children and grandchildren. Now, you can sing a lullaby to yourself with gentle music or nature sounds, like a flowing stream, the wind blowing, or soft rain. You can play a wordless meditation track on your phone, or listen to a story being read in a calm, steady, and quiet voice. There are soundscapes like the wind blowing through a forest or the rustling of leaves. After listening for just a little while, your heart will feel lighter, your eyelids will grow heavy, and before you know it, you will have fallen back asleep. The key is that the sound must be very gentle, not startling or too exciting. The goal is not entertainment, but to befriend your mind, to guide it away from anxiety and back to sleep. If you're not comfortable using a phone, you can use a small music player or a smart speaker. Just prepare a track that you like in advance. Turn it on when you need it, like a companion in the night. And just like that, with a little bit of gentle sound, you can turn a moment of waking up in the middle of the night, which seems like an inconvenience, into a moment of peaceful quiet, gently completing a full night's rest. My dear friends, if you're still watching at this point and have already applied even one of the things I've shared, I want to congratulate you. It means you've started to listen to and actively care for yourself. And sometimes, just one small change, done at the right time and in the right way, is enough to bring about very positive shifts in your health and spirit. I also truly hope that if any of you have tried this, or have your own effective methods, please don't hesitate to share them in the comments below. This way, I and many others can learn from you. Every comment is a valuable piece of experience. Who knows, it might help someone sleep better tonight. And if you find this video helpful and interesting, please click the like button and share it with your family and friends, especially those who are also entering that age of sleeping twice a night like us. My dear friends, in the first part, I shared 5 simple but very effective things to help you get back to sleep when you wake up in the middle of the night. But have you ever wondered, why is it always 2 or 3 in the morning? Why not 1 o'clock or 5 o'clock? This simple question leads us to something very interesting. Our bodies have a biological clock that silently runs all day and night. And it's this clock that wakes us up, not a noise from outside, not a shadow on the wall, but a call from within. So how does this clock work, and what is the special role of the liver between 1 and 3 in the morning? Let's explore this in more detail in the next section. 1. The biological clock and the role of the liver. It's not a coincidence that our bodies consistently choose 2 or 3 in the morning to wake up. It's not a bad habit, and it's not necessarily a disease. For the most part, it's related to our biological clock, something that both traditional Eastern medicine and modern Western medicine recognize. According to Eastern medicine, a 24-hour day is divided into 12 two-hour periods, with each period corresponding to the peak activity of an internal organ. From 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., this is the time when the liver's energy, or qi, is at its strongest. This is when the liver performs its function of purifying and detoxifying the blood and filtering out negative emotions accumulated during the day. So why do we wake up then? It could be because the liver is working harder than usual. Perhaps because of an irregular diet, taking a lot of medication, or accumulating stress and suppressed anger. At that time, the liver speaks up and we wake up. Western medicine explains this through hormones and circadian rhythms. At night, the liver is still working to filter blood and detoxify. But if you eat late, drink alcohol, or are taking a lot of prescription drugs, the liver has to work much harder during that 1 to 3 a.m. window. The body can then enter a state of mild alert, causing you to wake up for no clear reason. But please don't worry. Waking up during the liver's active time is not a bad thing. On the contrary, it shows that your body is still very sensitive and connected to itself. The important thing is that we need to gently listen to our bodies, like listening to an old friend telling a story. Don't interrupt, don't be impatient, just listen quietly and adjust gradually. Just remember this to make it easy. 1 to 3 in the morning is the liver's time. If you often wake up then, consider it a reminder to live a little more gently, eat a little healthier, and pay a little more attention to yourself each day. 2. Hormonal changes with age, a lighter sleep, and a more restless mind. My dear friends, in our 60s and beyond, there's one thing no one can avoid: Our sleep is no longer as deep or as solid as when we were young. We might fall asleep early, but then we sleep lightly, are easily startled, and are especially prone to waking up right around 2 or 3 in the morning. Why is that? It's simply because the hormones in our bodies have changed over time. You can imagine it like an old alarm clock. You set it for 6 a.m., but now it suddenly goes off at 3 a.m., and no one set it. That's an alarm from within. Specifically, a hormone called melatonin, which is responsible for making us feel sleepy and helping us sleep deeply, gradually decreases with age. When we were young, melatonin was released steadily in the evening, signaling to the body that it was time to rest. But in our later years, the amount of melatonin decreases significantly. This makes it take longer to fall asleep, and our sleep is more easily interrupted. Not only that, but our bodies also become more sensitive to the surrounding environment. Just a little bit of faint light, a soft sound, or a small change in temperature can be enough to wake us up. It's not because we've become difficult, but because our nervous system is now older, and it doesn't have the same resilience as it used to. In addition, many of us are taking medications for chronic conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease. These medications can also indirectly affect our sleep, causing us to wake up in the middle of the night for no clear reason. However, you don't need to worry too much. This is a very natural phenomenon as we enter our golden years. Waking up doesn't mean you have a disease. It just means your body is entering a different phase, and it needs you to make gentle adjustments to adapt. So, instead of getting frustrated when you wake up in the middle of the night, gently accept it like an old friend who occasionally stops by for a visit earlier than expected. Knowing this, we can worry less, feel less confused, and live more peacefully each day. 3. How you eat in the evening affects how you sleep at night. Your stomach needs to rest early too. My dear friends, I wonder if you've noticed this. Many times when we wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, it's not because of stress, light, or noise. It's simply because our stomach feels bloated, uncomfortable, and unsettled, as if something isn't finished. In truth, that is your stomach and digestive tract speaking up. After working for over 60 years, every organ in our body now needs to retire on time, especially the digestive system. During the day, it works hard, but at night, it's supposed to rest. Instead, we often make it work overtime by eating a late dinner, eating too much, or eating foods that are hard to digest. Just imagine if you eat a big dinner around 8 or 9 at night and then lie down to rest right away. How can your stomach possibly have time to digest everything? By 2 or 3 in the morning, it's still churning away, producing gas and bloating. That's why you wake up feeling full and not at all comfortable. As we get older, we need to eat more simply, with less oil and fat, and choose foods that are easier to digest. I often advise people to have a light dinner. A small bowl of soup, some steamed vegetables, a piece of steamed fish. Don't feel pressured by your children or grandchildren to join in on a heavy pasta dinner, fried foods, or a big meal that leaves you with a full stomach and a restless night. And one thing that is just as important is the timing of your meal. You should try to eat dinner before 7 p.m. This gives your digestive system at least 3 or 4 hours to finish its work before you go to bed. If you eat early and eat moderately, your stomach gets to rest on time at night. It's like going to sleep without being woken up in the middle of the night to be given more work. Some of the best nights of sleep don't require pills or lullabies. They just require a proper dinner. Remember, whether you sleep soundly at night is often decided at the dinner table. For when the mind is still worried and the heart still remembers, the night is easily disturbed. My dear friends, there is one thing that no medical science can measure precisely, but anyone who has reached their 60s understands it deeply. Sleep is not just decided by the body. It depends very much on the state of our mind. I have met many people who are healthy, eat well, and have no obvious illnesses. Yet, like clockwork, they wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning. They sit up, not tired, not in pain, but unable to fall back asleep. When you think about it carefully, you realize it's the quiet worries, the things left unsaid in our hearts, that keep us awake. When we're young, we're too busy to dwell on sadness for long. But in old age, everything slows down. Memories, worries, concerns about our children, stories from the past, all come back very clearly when the night falls. Even just a distant look in your grandchild's eyes in the afternoon, or the sound of your child's sigh at the dinner table, can be enough to weigh on your mind all night. You know, scientists call this latent stress. It's not a heavy, overwhelming stress, but a silent kind that keeps the brain working subconsciously even while we sleep. And when the brain gets overloaded, it wakes us up. The night is when all other sounds fall silent, so the voice of our heart becomes louder. But this can also be an opportunity. Because when we wake up in the middle of the night, we finally have a private space to listen to ourselves, something we're too busy to do during the day. Instead of being afraid of insomnia, you can try sitting quietly, breathing slowly, placing a hand on your heart, and just asking yourself, what is on my mind? Who am I thinking of? You don't need to answer. Just acknowledging it and breathing evenly is enough to make your body feel a little lighter. Because sometimes, just by being heard, our worries can lessen, and a gentle sleep will return, uninvited but welcome. 5. The spiritual hour is not necessarily something mysterious. Sometimes it's just when we can hear ourselves most clearly. My dear friends, I wonder if you've ever heard people say that waking up around 2 or 3 in the morning is a spiritual hour. A time when people are more likely to have vivid dreams, be more sensitive, and remember old stories. It might sound like folklore, but the older I get, the more I see the truth in it. This is because at 2 or 3 in the morning, the whole house is deep in sleep. The world outside is so quiet you can hear the clock ticking. There's no sound from the TV, no traffic, not even the sound of conversation from the day. Everything is still. And in that stillness, our own hearts begin to surface, like the surface of calm water that can finally reflect our true selves. So, when you wake up at that hour, it's easy to feel a longing for someone, a worry about something, or simply a desire to sit still and do nothing. This isn't because you are weak. It could be your intuition, a very deep kind of perception that only comes with life experience. In Eastern spirituality, 3 a.m. is considered a time of transition, a crossover of energy between yin and yang, between stillness and motion. If you keep your mind calm, it's a very good time to pray, to silently give thanks, or to simply sit and breathe. No requests, no demands, just you with yourself. Sometimes, in moments like these, the heart feels much lighter. Without anyone needing to soothe you, sleep returns on its own. I'm not promoting superstition, but I do believe that humans are more than just a physical body. We also have a soul, a spirit, a vibration that science cannot yet fully measure. And old age is when that part of us speaks up more often. Not loudly, not fiercely, but with gentle awakenings at 3 a.m. So, if you wake up at that hour, don't be afraid. Don't think something is wrong. Instead, see it as an invitation to pause, to quiet down, and to connect with yourself in the most profound way of the day. My dear friends, in the last section, we went through some very ordinary but also very deep reasons why many of us often wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning. From the biological clock and the liver's work, to hormonal changes, our evening meal, and even those quiet spiritual stirrings. All of these could be the one waking us up in the dark. But the most important thing, my friends, is not to worry or be afraid. Because only when we understand the root cause does that awakening stop being an annoyance. Instead, it becomes an opportunity to live more slowly, more deeply, and more healthily. If you see yourself in what I've just shared, please don't hesitate to leave a few thoughts below. And if you found this video helpful, please press the like button and share it with your loved ones. Let me tell you about Helen, a 63-year-old from Austin, Texas. She is a kind, simple woman who, for a long time, lived with the nightmare of chronic insomnia. Helen is a retired teacher. Since she stopped working with no more classroom and no more students cheerfully calling her name, she began to find the days longer, but also sadder. During the day, she would keep busy in the kitchen. At night, she'd watch TV just to pass the time, then go to bed at 9 p.m. because she didn't know what else to do. But strangely, at exactly 2:50 a.m., she would wake up. Her mind would be wide awake, but her heart would feel heavy. Not because of pain, but because of an emptiness. She would lie still in the dark, her eyes staring into space, and she would sigh. Another night. Am I really getting old? In the beginning, she would try to force herself back to sleep, tossing and turning, counting her breaths, rubbing mint oil on her temples, but nothing worked. She'd turn on her phone, scroll through Facebook, look at pictures of her grandkids, watch some funny clips, and then scroll down to read the news. The more she watched, the more awake she became. By early morning, her body would be sore, her eyes heavy, but her mind was still not at peace. Every morning, she would wake up with a buzzing head, a stiff neck, and puffy eyes. On those days, she couldn't accomplish much of anything. Helen's insomnia continued like this for months. She went to the doctor, who said there was nothing serious, just her age and her worrying. He gave her sleeping pills. She took them for a few days and then stopped because they made her feel groggy and heavy-headed all day. Until one day. It was a Saturday, and a soft rain had been falling all night. She woke up again at 3 a.m. But instead of scrolling on her phone like usual, she opened the window, took a deep breath, and sat quietly, just watching the rain fall. No TV, no news, no phone notifications. Just the sound of the rain gently tapping on the roof. Suddenly, she felt her heart calm down in a way she hadn't felt for a long time. She suddenly remembered her teaching years. Whenever she taught a lesson on describing a morning scene, she would always say that the dawn is when everything is still pristine, untouched by the dust of daily life. It's the time when our minds can be the most still. She let out a small laugh. It had been a long time since she had laughed so naturally in the middle of the night. From that day on, Helen decided not to be afraid of 3 a.m. anymore. Whenever she woke up, she wouldn't turn on her phone. She would go out onto her small balcony and breathe. Some nights, she'd bring a small wooden chair and just listen to the wind. Other nights, she'd light a calming stick of incense and sit quietly, as if in meditation. Then she started writing a few simple lines in a small notebook. Today I woke up and my heart doesn't feel so heavy. My daughter called yesterday, and her voice sounded so happy. She wasn't writing for an assignment, but as a way of having a quiet conversation with herself. A few weeks later, something magical happened. She still woke up at 3 a.m., but she no longer felt tired. Some nights, she would sit for 20 minutes and then fall back into a very deep sleep. Other nights, she wouldn't sleep again, but she would be awake in a state of peace. Most importantly, she would wake up in the morning feeling refreshed, lighthearted, and alert. She told me now, when I go to bed at night, I no longer pray to sleep straight through until morning. I just hope that if I wake up at 3 a.m., I can still maintain that same sense of peace. My dear friends, Helen's story might also be the story of many of you watching this video. Waking up in the middle of the night is often something that bothers us. But if we learn to welcome it in the right way, it can become a golden moment for those of us in our 60s and beyond. Because that is the time when the whole world is quiet and it's just you with yourself. No one to bother you, no more responsibilities, no more work. Just a few very private minutes that, if used well, can recharge your soul in the most profound way. So, when you wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, don't rush to your phone. Don't rush to complain about your fate. Instead, try these 3 simple things. Anyone can do them, they cost nothing, they aren't tiring, but they are extremely beneficial for your physical and mental health in your later years. Let's start with the first suggestion. The first thing, step out onto the balcony, breathe in the cool air, and awaken the life in every breath. My dear friends, if one night you find yourself awake at 2 or 3 in the morning, don't just stay buried under the covers trying to force yourself back to sleep in frustration. Instead, you can gently step out onto your balcony or open a window just a crack and welcome in a wave of cool, early morning air. Many people think, what's the point of going outside at this hour? But if you just try it once, you will feel how quiet, clean, and pure the night air is. There's no more smog, no more traffic noise, not even the chaotic sounds of daily life. At that moment, every breath you take is like drinking a cool sip of water for your soul. Breathe in deeply, then breathe out very slowly. Each breath is a way to calm your heart, a way to soothe the stream of thoughts that are quietly running through your head. You can stand still or sit down on a small chair. You don't need to think about anything much. Just look up at the night sky. Sometimes you'll see the moon, sometimes just the faint outline of passing clouds. But even when there's nothing to see, that stillness itself is a gift. One friend told me that after just a few days of going out on her balcony like this, she naturally started to feel lighter and less stressed. Some days she didn't fall back asleep, but she still felt fine in the morning. She was still able to cook, go for a walk, and play with her grandchildren with joy. Because the truth is, rest isn't just about sleeping more. If your mind is at peace, if your head is quiet, just a few minutes of sitting quietly in the cool air can be enough to make up for an hour of tossing and turning in a stuffy room. And don't forget, when you step out onto the balcony, you are also stepping out from behind the confining walls in your own mind. Just a small gesture like that is enough to remind yourself, I am alive. I am still breathing. And this life is still beautiful, even at 3 a.m. The second thing, listen to calming music or nature sounds to let your mind lull itself back to sleep. When you wake up in the middle of the night, besides the silence outside, the thing that bothers us most isn't the darkness. It's the thoughts echoing in our heads. Thinking about our children, about our health, remembering loved ones who have passed. The more you think, the more awake you get. The more you remember, the harder it is to sleep. In moments like these, instead of turning on the TV or scrolling through your phone, which can wake you up completely, try a gentler approach. Listen to some meditation music, the sound of a flowing stream, falling rain, or simply a gentle, instrumental folk song. You don't need to understand the music, you don't need fancy headphones. Just play it from a small device or your phone speaker at a low volume. That sound will soothe your mind in a very natural way. You can imagine it like the old days when we sang a lullaby to our children. Now you are lulling yourself back to sleep. When you listen, you don't need to focus. You don't need to try to fall asleep. Just let the music play like a whispering friend. It could be the sound of a bamboo flute, a traditional zither, or simply the sound of the wind blowing through a field. All of these have the effect of slowing down your thoughts and bringing your mind back to the present moment. The important thing is to choose sounds that are calm and steady, not sudden or abrupt. Avoid upbeat songs with lyrics that make you want to listen to the end. The purpose here is relaxation, not entertainment. Many people have shared that after just 10 minutes of listening to soft music, their body starts to relax, their eyelids get heavy, and they fall asleep without even realizing it. Some don't fall back asleep, but they lie there peacefully, not tired or uncomfortable, and still feel refreshed in the morning. This just goes to show that sometimes sleep doesn't require medicine. It just needs the sound of a stream, a gentle melody, and a heart that knows how to quiet down. Amidst those sounds, we hear ourselves again and find more peace each night. The third thing, do light manual tasks. Folding clothes or tidying a blanket is also a way to calm the mind. There are some nights when you wake up and lying still just doesn't help you fall back asleep. You've gone to the balcony, breathed the air, listened to music, but your eyes are still wide open. At that point, many people will turn to their phones again or just toss and turn in bed. But there is actually a very gentle and effective method. Do a few simple manual tasks that don't require much thought. For example, refold the blanket you were just lying under. Neatly fold the shirt you left on a chair. Or gently wipe the family altar or sweep the small area of the floor in front of your room. These are tiny tasks, but they have a huge effect on bringing your mind back to the present moment. Just try it once and see. When your hands start folding the blanket, smoothing out the wrinkles, and adjusting the corners of the bed, your mind seems to get folded up neatly along with each gentle movement. It's not complicated, not strenuous, but it creates a very special feeling. The feeling that you are back in control of your life, instead of letting your thoughts lead you away. These manual tasks keep you grounded in the present. And that is what helps your mind become lighter and your body relax. Then, you might just fall back asleep without even knowing it. One gentleman once told me, I had insomnia for years. But ever since I started washing the few glasses left out from the evening whenever I wake up, I feel better every morning. It's not because the glasses are clean, but because my head feels clean. You don't need to try to do anything big. You don't need to finish the job. You do it to lighten your body, not to complete a task. And if you feel sleepy after a few minutes, that's wonderful. If not, at least you've had a period of time without frustration, sadness, or a heavy heart. So, if you wake up at 3 a.m., let your hands guide your mind. Lightly tidy up your living space, which is also a way of tidying up your heart. My dear friends, alongside the 3 suggestions I just gave, I want to share one more very important note that is often overlooked whenever we wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning. That is, you should not turn on bright lights, and you should avoid grabbing your phone immediately. Many of us, when we can't sleep, turn on all the lights in the room out of fear of the dark or boredom. Then we pick up our phones to check the news, scroll through Facebook, or watch videos. But doing this is like telling the whole world to wake up with you. Bright light, especially white light from LED bulbs, will signal to your brain that it's already morning, time to wake up. When that happens, sleep-promoting hormones like melatonin will drop immediately, making you even more awake and making it very difficult to fall back asleep. And what about the phone? My friends, the blue light from a phone screen is the #1 enemy of sleep at night. It not only tires your eyes, but also stimulates your brain to work harder, making your mind spin with too many images, words, and sounds. And then, when you turn off the device, you can't turn off your mind. So, if you can, please use a soft, yellow nightlight that is just bright enough to see but not glaring. And please, put the phone aside. The night is for resting. It's not the time to connect with the noisy world outside. It is the time to reconnect with yourself. And so, we have completed a gentle journey from the confusion of waking up at 3 a.m. to learning how to turn that very moment into a golden opportunity for our physical and mental health. Just by changing a little bit. Instead of worrying, try listening. Instead of turning on your phone, turn on your heart. Everyone has their own way of calming themselves. And as long as we are patient, what was once a sleepless night can become a time to find moments that are very real, very peaceful, and very human. If you feel you've learned something from this video, or if you have your own wonderful methods, please leave a comment below. I would love to read and learn from your own experiences. And if you found this video helpful, please press the like button and share it with your family and friends so that someone else might feel less alone at 3 a.m. and know that they are not by themselves. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. I'll see you in our next chat. It will still be about life, about sleep, about living, but it will always be from the heart. I wish you a peaceful sleep and a truly light soul.